All right, what is up there? Actually, let me redo that. What is up there, SEO pros? Welcome back. Today we are on part 4 of the phase 1 foundational audit. In this section, we will be covering specifically internal link structure, site architecture, and if we can get to it as well, site-wide on-page issues. The the stuff that we just covered previously, let me just do a screen share. Hold on, let me change my screen over here. Sorry about this. 1 second. The part we were on before was indexation. We covered conversion rate optimization and website basics. I'm going to take this part out as well because we don't need it anymore. And yeah, so again, today what we're going to be covering is going into the next section, which is site architecture, talking about the concepts. And then once we're done with all of this, we're going to just be moving into going over how to do implementations. So I hope you guys are ready. So Evo,
Mm-hmm.
are you ready for part 4?
Yeah.
I need you to be sure. You sound a little unsure.
I am 100% sure, my friend.
Okay. So Evo is 100% sure. We're going to dive into it right now. Okay, cool, man. So first things first, site architecture. What do you know about that? What is a site architecture?
I'm pretty sure it's just site design,
Okay.
but we've never really talked about this, so
So
I
like,
don't know
what
100%.
would like an architecture be?
Um, just the design?
So like an architecture is more like a house or something, like a structure, right?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be a house, but it could be anything. Just building
So
in general,
architecture
I
is
feel
both the
like.
process and the product of planning, designing, constructing buildings or any other structures. So basically it's like a structure, right? It's like a it's like a table, right? Like if your site architecture like per se was a table and it was like missing a leg, right? It was just like what if this was it? Like it was just like missing that leg, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't really make sense, right? So you want like an architecture where like all the legs are in place to your table, right? Now,
So kind of like the foundation, like we're doing.
yeah, so I mean that's why it's part of the foundations because it's extremely important. And basically, like when you build out a website, you can have like different structures to your website. Like so, you could have a structure that looked like a table with 4 legs, a table with 2 legs. It could have like a table with 1 leg. Um, I'm not kidding. Like there are websites that just look like that, and it's just like, what are you doing? So today I'm going to be showing you how to determine a one-legged table versus like a four-legged table, and why we would need to fix certain things. So first of all, categorized URL structure. So do you have any idea what that means?
I can guess, like, maybe it just makes sense with the URL, and it's not just randomly made URLs.
Okay, I need you to be more specific. Like it makes sense. What makes sense?
Just the URL, like, which one are we working on right now? How to
So this
study in
is how to
college.
study in
So,
college. These are all the URLs on the website right now. You see all these?
just as a guess, I would say, like, if it's in blog, it would be in slash blog, and then slash, like, the blog page. But
Okay,
I'm
so
not
like a
100% sure.
categorized structure you think is like it's being categorized, like the posts are being categorized by the blog or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, could we make this like more dialed in, do you think? Like, because right now it says how to study in college.com. That's the home page, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then um, it goes to blog, which is the blog page with all the posts in it. And then we have the actual post itself. So it goes homepage, blog, and then the post under the blog. Could we make this more categorized, do you think?
I mean, depends on what that one is. Is that just like a random page that's just talking about something?
I'll
Pretty
show
sure it
you.
is. Hmm. Maybe we can make like another category for it and then make it into that page. So we did
Okay.
categories before.
So how would the URL look then in that case?
So slash blog, and then since this is study habits, maybe you just want to do like a category named study habits if they had other posts, because this is all about college stuff. So I feel like
Okay,
that's what
so
I
that
would
would
do.
probably be, you think, like a better categorization.
Yeah.
So when we ask if the URL structure is categorized, what would you say? Yes or no? Would it be a Z or an X?
Um, I would say yes, but can be worked on more.
Okay, so we put a Z.
I'm not sure.
So what's the difference between Z and X?
Z is no, X is yeah.
Okay, so what would we say for this?
I'd just put Z just to fix it for later.
Okay, but we need to leave a note, right? Because we can't just say it's not working. So what would our note say?
Add more categories to URLs.
Okay. So specifically, what type of URLs though?
Blog.
Blog, right? Because you only looked at the blog URLs, right? You didn't look at. Okay, let's say you were visiting a website and you saw a blog, and obviously you know that like this could probably be more categorized. But let's say you were also on the same website looking for a service called, study guides, right? Like you want a study service or something, right? It's called study service, whatever. So you got the home page here, and then you got the URL study service, and then after that you would have like the name of the service, right? Like writing or English or grammar or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how would we check for if they have any services or products or something that should be categorized? What do we do?
Um, I do not know.
Okay, so what we do is we go on the website and we look at their different pages, like for instance, how to study. So look at this. It says how to get good grades. And then if we click into something on here, right here, why do a plan? Look at that. That's categorized, right? Because it went from how to get good grades
Mm-hmm.
to set it up day one. So that's all very well categorized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then if we click into another part of the website, like study planner,
That one's
okay,
also put into.
that's, well, we don't know yet because it could start right here, but then we click into this and then it just goes one level down and it's not really categorized. So the point
Uh,
I'm trying to make here is you're looking for if when you click into things, if these have parent, they're called parent pages or parent folders. Um,
mm,
if you just click into the website and everything's just one level down, you'll see this sometimes. Like a blog post is just, it literally just says the pile. Like that'll be the blog post, but then you go to a different part of the website, like a service, and it'll say like our top service. That's kind of confusing, right? Because then you just don't know, like, okay, everything's just one level down, so like nothing's categorized. It doesn't make sense, right?
mm-hmm.
It's hard to look at. So before you do end up changing the URL structure, though, or the category structure, you want to make sure that the pages that you're looking at aren't receiving a bunch of traffic. Because if you go and let's say take something that's not categorized, like let's take this post. Where is it? Let's take this blog right here. Or no, not that blog. Hold on, right here. Um, and if that blog right there was receiving a bunch of traffic, let's just put it in there. If that was like a 500 clicks or something, you wouldn't necessarily want to change the architecture if it's already working pretty well, like if it's already ranking really well, because then you could end up actually hurting the rankings and then actually hurting the entire site. So generally, you only want to really change the architecture if like things are really confusing or if for instance, like it just doesn't make any sense, or if they're just not ranked, like if there's just 0 clicks like on all the pages that are like under blog, then you could probably change it. But if we go look at blog right now, /blog, let me see URLs containing this, apply, just do, so yeah, look at that. So all of these URLs, all of these blog or pages, blog posts that contain the word blog they're not really receiving a lot of traffic. So we could change the architecture on those if we wanted to. But generally, again, if you have like, let's say, thousands of blog posts ranking with that, then you probably wouldn't want to change it. So let's go back to the template. So categorize URL structure, add more categories to blog URLs. Also, I was just working with a client that had like 20 or 30 categories on his site, and like only 3 of them were ranking. And the reason for that is you don't normally want to have so many categories that like literally there's like only one blog post you can make for each category. Because at that point you might as well just be doing like one level down, if you know what I'm saying. So in that case, what we're going to probably end up recommending is like, let's remove the top 25 categories that aren't ranking, and let's just go ahead and keep the ones that are, like the 5. So generally when you have categories, for the most part, you only need like 5 to 10 categories for most of your like top level folders, if you know what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You like stopped for a second.
Nah, it's just how I talk. Don't mind me. But
okay.
So it's kind of like, say like you're in Windows folder, kind of just like every time you click, you go deeper and deeper, kind of like.
So when you click into a folder, like let's say this one, how to study, generally, like if it's like a service or something, you can have like as many like sub levels. I mean, sorry, if it's like a service, you're only going to have like one category basically. So it doesn't really matter. But if you go into like a blog and let's say you have like 30 subcategories or like 30 categories, that's not going to really make sense, because like then you're going to have like, you know, like 20 blog posts in each of those. And that's going to be really hard if they're all really very like super specific. But if you're on a website, like let's say I ranked this one site called authoritynuke.com. I ranked for SEO in my town. And if you look at the way it's set up, like if I click on a services, what do you think is going to show up? Like what do you think the URL is going to say?
/services.
Let's see. So I put my location in there. I put Santa Barbara services just because, you know, I wanted to be a little bit more hyper targeted to my area. Now, if I click on one of the services, what am I going to find? What's the full URL going to be?
It's going to be everything that's that, and then / oh, what happened?
Just read off the whole URL for me. What you think this is going to be? So authoritynuke.com /
Santa Barbara services / conversion rate optimization.
With dashes in between all the words too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Good. So you see how that's very categorized right there versus me just having like, you know, one level down that just says like CRO, which is like the abbreviation of conversion rate optimization. That's not really helping anybody, right?
So it doesn't make sense.
Or search engines or anything. Yeah. What about location? What if I click on that? What'll it give me?
authoritynuke.com / location.
Okay. Now what about Goleta?
Just keeps going more. So Goleta.
What is the full URL?
authoritynuke.com / location / Goleta.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. This one I actually messed up, but that's how it's supposed to be. You're correct. So you get the point. When you're looking at a website and you're looking through the URLs, you basically want to make sure that for the most part they are trying to have a categorized structure as much as possible, because that makes more sense to have than just having, you know, weird URLs that don't categorize and just stuff all over the place. Because sometimes, like I said, you'll go into a website and they'll have all these services, but they won't be categorized, right? And it just doesn't make sense. But again, if you see that a lot of those services are ranking really high on Google, it's usually better just to not mess with them. Just keep them. Yeah. If they're like doing really well. Otherwise, if they have like 0 clicks or whatever, it's better to just go in and change them before they get traffic. We have a quick question from Video Zeus. He says, question, do pages need to be indexed independently of the sitemap inside of Search Console? No. They do not. Okay. Next, we have URLs containing uppercase letters. I bet you can probably guess what that means.
Yeah, but I do have a question with that. Why does Google have it? Like, I look up there. I'm assuming it's just for security reasons, but I'm not 100% sure. Like,
Where do they have it?
like in their URL, you see like I see that capital W. They
Oh,
have
this is just because it's random generated links. This isn't
yeah,
actually
that's what I
indexed.
figured.
This isn't
So is it
indexed on
just
Google.
is it always just better to have lowercase um
Yeah,
letters in your
because you
URL?
don't want your users to like, have to type in like, say for instance they had to type something in, it was like a bunch of weird uppercase, lowercase. You just want it to be all lowercase. So how are we going to check for if URLs contain uppercase letters or not?
Um, I mean, you could look at the Screaming Frog URLs, but I don't know
What if there
quick
was like
way.
what if there was like 50,000 URLs that we had to look through?
Yeah, that's the problem. Um, does Control F look up capitals versus like not capital?
I mean, you
Pretty
could
sure.
type in like all the capital letters if you wanted.
Yeah, but that's tedious also. Yeah, I don't know a quick way to be able to do that.
Okay, so do you remember Sitebulb?
Yep.
The cool thing about Sitebulb is you go to hints and you type in search for hint, just paste it in. And if that's in there, you just type in upper or whatever. If it's in here, then you know it's a problem. But you can see here that it's not. If we want to make sure, like we go to on page and go to hints, URLs containing. Actually, sorry, it's like links. Uh, Somewhere in here, URL containing uppercase letters. You'll basically find that it's not a problem in here. So it's in one of these that it's going to be a passed thing. It would be cool if it showed you the ones that are passed. I don't know why it doesn't, but basically you know that that it's not a problem. So yeah, that's how you check. That's the easiest way to check. Just go into Sitebulb and just type that in, and then that way you can see that there's no problem there. Your URLs containing a double slash, same thing. You could literally just copy that. Go to hints, double slash, no. Because a lot of these are straight from Sitebulb. URLs containing white space.
Is this the same thing why you don't want to have double slash? Just like the upper letter ones?
Yeah, so the reason why you don't want double slashes is just because it's like it's unnecessary, right? You don't need it's like it's just unnecessary. It's like if you were to see a URL that said like watch this. Why did I just bring up in my calculator? That's how you know I'm out of it. Hold on. If you were to bring up, let's say home.com, and then, or that would be lowercase, of course, home.com / my SEO, and then having like that services for 2008. Like that looks so weird. That looks like you're about to get hacked, right? Um, and then the same thing with
Yep.
like your URL paths that you need to know about. You don't want these to be more than like 5 words deep. So like my SEO services, maybe like 2019 would be like as far as you'd want to go. You wouldn't want to go like my SEO services for people who are 20, in 2019, and then your next thing is like, here's all of my services for people. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that is ridiculous. Google stops reading the URL and like adding weight to like what it's putting into its algorithm past like the first 3 to 5 words. So these are actually somewhat of a ranking factor, these URLs, because Google actually reads what's in the URL. So you'd be much better off going like home.com / SEO services. Um, you know, you could do some other qualifier as well, like Los Angeles if you wanted, but SEO services, that's fine. And then you would have name, or like page speed optimization. Like that's a lot better because then it's clear, it makes sense, it's not overly done, it's not like 500 words, it's easy. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so breadcrumbs. Do you have any idea what breadcrumbs are? Not the
Um,
food, but like actual like website breadcrumbs.
oh, I remember talking about that. I'm pretty sure Ryan said like it's the top of the page with like the categories or something like that.
So let's go look at the technical definition for it. Oops, that's bad. So a breadcrumb or breadcrumb trail is a type of secondary navigation scheme that reveals the user's location in a website or web application. The term comes from Hansel and Gretel fairy tale in which the two little children drop breadcrumbs to form a trail back to their home. So again, basically there's like all these little breadcrumbs and you know, where when people are on your website, say they hit, let's say this breadcrumb off of Google or the URL off of Google, let's say this thing. Basically, it's the same as the architecture. So a breadcrumb is really just telling you exactly where you are in that architecture. It'll say, okay, you're on this post right here. If you go back to this next thing, it is the service, or it's the main category for the blog. And then after, if you go back here, this is the blog. And if you go back here, this is the home page, right?
So it's kind of like the URL, but you can actually click on them. It's probably like easier for most people also.
Exactly. And it's ironic because this actually has a ranking article about breadcrumbs, but it doesn't have breadcrumbs on the page. Breadcrumbs are also helpful because when you have them done correctly, it won't show this URL in the search results. It'll actually show these little arrows. Let me see if I can find it right there. You see those little arrows? That means there's breadcrumbs. So if I click into it, here we go. Those are breadcrumbs. Or actually, that's tags. Just none of this. Oh, it's right here. So look at this. This is the post you're at. What are breadcrumbs and why are they important for SEO? This is where it goes back to, which is the tag blog SEO. From there, it goes back to this other tag. And then from there, it goes back to the main SEO blog. And then it goes back to the homepage. They use tags. I don't recommend to use tags, but basically that's how it works. If I click on that, you'll see here, now I'm there. If I click on that, now I'm there. And I go there, right? So how do we determine whether or not this website is using breadcrumbs or not? What do we do?
Site colon howtostudyincollege.com.
Okay. Site colon howtostudyincollege.com.
You said if they had it, they would show arrows, but
there's an arrow there.
Oh.
Don't you think it'd be easier just to look at the pages?
Just to look at the site? Well, wouldn't that be like also tedious? Or is it just on every
you can
page?
just look at some of the main pages and see if there's breadcrumbs on them. Like right here, you can see there's no breadcrumbs here. Or if you go here, and again, if you were a user, it's helpful because it's nice for you to be at this page and know exactly where you are. If there's little breadcrumbs right here, you would know exactly where you are, so you could just click back to the home page. So from a user experience or UX perspective, you can see that it's helpful to have these breadcrumbs to remind you of where you are at on the website, right? So what we would do is we'd say, no, the breadcrumbs are not working. Sorry, these are supposed to be X's. These are good. Okay, site search is, do you know what that is?
I'm pretty sure you can search inside like the site, kind of like, what would be one? Amazon, for instance. Like you can look inside and look up something.
Right. So it's basically like a mini search engine. So in here we don't have it. Would we make the recommendation that they use it?
Yep, I would say. So it's easier, but I'm not sure.
So what's easier?
So they can navigate around easier.
Okay. So yeah, it really depends. Like I usually recommend having the site search if there's a lot of people hitting the website, just because it's sometimes helpful. And the other cool thing is if you get it set up in Google Analytics, there's actually a section that you can set up site search and see what people are actually searching for within your website. Here you can see we don't have it enabled, so we have no idea, but this is a really good idea to actually see what people are looking for and give them if they're, what they're wanting if they're looking for something. So we'll just say because they have a good amount of traffic on their website that we recommend it. Okay, 404s, 301s, 302s. What are those different codes?
404 is page not found. I know that one. 301 is, I think the page has been moved permanently, and then 302 is a redirect.
Well, they're both redirects, but which one is what? You got the 301 right, so what is the 302?
Temporary?
Temporary. Good. Okay, so how do we determine whether or not these are on the website?
Screaming Frog?
Okay, we'll go into Screaming Frog. Now what do we do?
Go to the right more. Should be like a whole tab. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so we got some 301s, we got a 404.
404 right there.
So, what do we do when we see these 301s and 404s?
Fix them. So like if a 404 is there, I'm pretty sure would you delete it?
Generally, if it's a 404, if it's supposed to be gone, like if the page is supposed to be deleted, then we would want to change it to a 410 to let Google know that we permanently got rid of the page. If it's a mistake in the like the page accidentally got deleted, we saw that was a 404, then we want to go fix that page and bring it back up. For the 301s, they're not always necessarily a bad thing. Like, look at this. The old non-SSL version of the website's redirecting to the correct version, so that's a good thing. So 301s are not always bad, but they are good to look at to see if there's anything wrong going on there. The only time you really want to fix a 301 is if you are linking on the website to another page internally to the website, and that page is then 301ing, because you don't want to like have somebody click on a page and then it redirect after they hit that page, because that is a bad UX, right? You know what I'm saying there?
Yep. I got that.
So the way you fix that, I'll show you later on, but that's pretty much it. So it looks like for the most part it's good though. All right. You want to go on the next one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Internet Marketing Review says, Chase, how do I get it where it doesn't show author in Google when I do site:/domain.com? You de-index your authors pages. Okay. Internal link structure. So what's an internal link structure? Do you have any idea?
No.
If you were to guess.
I honestly don't know.
What's an internal link?
I know you can find it in Sitebulb, but I'm not 100% sure what exactly it is.
Okay, what's a link?
Just a URL.
Well, no, a URL is not a link. A URL is a URL.
Oh.
A link is a URL that's being linked somewhere.
Tagged.
Right, it's like a URL that's being placed somewhere for people to go, go to. A link could be like, for instance, it could look like this. It could be like, click here. Right? So do you know what the words are that you click on for when you're clicking on a link? Do you know what those are called?
No.
Called anchor text.
That's what you were talking about in your video the other day.
Yeah, so a link again is something that's pointing somewhere. What is a link? Hyperlink is a computing. A hyperlink or simply a hyperlink or simply a link is a reference to data that reader can directly follow either by clicking or tapping. A hyperlink points to a whole document or to a specific element within a document. Hypertext is text with hyperlinks. The text that is linked from called an anchor text. So there's two different types of links. There's the hyperlink and then like hypertext. And so a hyperlink is basically just the website, like chaserunner.com. That's a hyperlink. And it's being referenced inside of a page. So you can click on that, right? Like I'll make it blue so you know that you can click on it. chaserunner.com. Now hypertext, I suppose, or anchor text is basically this link, but it says click here and it leads to chaserunner.com. Do you see the difference between the two? So what would be an internal link?
A link inside of a website?
Right, exactly. So if we were on chaserunner.com and we had a link pointing to, let's say, hold on, let me get out of this text. There we go. And we had a link pointing to, let's say, chasetrainer.com/blog. That would be an internal link, right?
I don't know.
Yes, because you're internally linking. What's an external link?
I mean, I know external's outside.
Okay, so what would an external link be for, like, over here? What would we write there?
I don't know. Maybe www. I honestly don't know.
So if it's pointing outside of the website, what would the link be? Anything that isn't that website, right? Like google.com, facebook.com, anything, YouTube.
Oh.
So again, if we go to chasetrainer.com and we click on these, are these going to be internal links or external links?
Internal.
So that's internal. Now, if I click on, let's say, this, is that internal or external?
External.
External. So now you know what an internal link is. What would be an internal link structure?
Links that are being structured correctly.
No. What's a structure?
Just like a building.
The arrangement of and the relations between parts or elements of something complex. So when you're thinking of a structure like a let's say like a building, and then you like think of that building in terms of links, what would that look like?
The very top would be like the main page.
Okay, so like chasetrainer.com.
And then it slowly goes down, kind of like the URL structure.
Perfect. So it's just like the URL structure, except it's how it's being linked throughout the website, right? If you're on the home page, let's say this is the home page right here. On that home page, you're probably, if things are categorized correctly, like we were talking about, that home page is going to link to, let's say, services. The services is going to link to the different types of services, and then those even might link to like more specific things within those, right? So you can see how URL structure and internal link structure are very similar, except the difference is that the URL structure is talking about the actual URLs and how those are structured. The internal link structure is talking about how the website is internally linking to other pages on the site. Does that make sense?
How would we check that?
Okay, so let's talk about the first one. Has only one. Well, actually, we got rid of this. Let me get rid of that. Actually, we got rid of that as well. So broken internal URLs. So what's a broken internal URL?
Just a internal URL that's not working.
Which would also be called a
404.
404. So the way you would check that really is just to see if there's 404s on your site. We also use a tool called Broken Link Checker, which will show us. It will actually check for these 4s.
Is it a plugin?
It's a plugin. Yeah, we'll talk about it when we go over the implementation. But for the moment, we see that there's probably one broken link, so we could just say yeah. External link problems. This again is also really kind of irrelevant. This whole section is kind of irrelevant because the internal link structure is actually based more on benchmarking than site-wide type issues. But for the moment, we'll just keep broken internal URLs. Actually, site architecture and internal link structure are almost the same thing. And if anything, we can just take this and move it up because the site architecture really is also representing how the internal links are is working as well. Okay, so, but it is important for you to know. Site-wide on-page issues. So what's an on-page issue? What's the difference between on-page SEO versus off-page SEO?
Oh, I don't know.
If you had to guess.
I mean, On page, off page. So on page would probably be like content related or something like that. Off page
Think
would
of
probably be
internal
like
and external. It's basically the same definition.
mm-hmm.
So actually, sorry, external. Disregard what I just said. So on page is anything that you control on your website. Anything that is something on your website is on page.
So like
Any
content.
content, optimizations, page speed, all that stuff. Everything that's in here. Anything that's off page SEO is something that you don't control fully. So, like for instance, somebody else's website or link building, that kind of stuff. So, what are we talking about when we're talking about site wide on page issues?
So just site wide whole issues that are like content related or something.
Not just content related, because remember how I said that it's about pretty much everything that's on your site
So
and related to SEO?
any on page issue.
Right. So, site wide on page issues, meaning it affects your entire website from an SEO perspective. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
site wide on page issues would be like, all of your title tags being too short, all of your title lengths being too long, title tags being duplicated. These ones actually right here, these first two don't matter because that's not really a site-wide issue. That's more of like a individual URL issue. But title tag length being too long. Sorry. Title tags being duplicated is a problem because you're going to basically have the same titles across multiple URLs. And that's sort of a problem because then you're going to basically be having, let's say, the homepage saying Chase Reiner SEO agency, and then service page saying the same thing. So that's why you'd want to remove that. Um, but again, a lot of this also has to do really with more individual issues first, like these duplicate meta descriptions, duplicate title tags. We don't really care about fixing as much in the beginning. So the only thing we actually really care about here for the moment is just meta keywords. So you remember what meta keywords are?
Um, Keywords that are ranking well.
Right. And by the way, the thing that's kind of vague about this is all site-wide on-page issues. I guess I should have worded this differently. Um, I think I'm going to move meta keywords over to indexation and then take out site-wide on-page issues because this is all site-wide on-page issues. So yeah, meta keywords. What are they again? What'd you say?
Keywords that are ranking well.
No. Remember how I was talking about back in the day, Google took out these things that people used to have to use to specify what they wanted to rank for?
Vaguely.
So back in the day, you used to have to tell Google with a tag called meta keywords that you wanted to rank for different keywords before Google was able to understand like how to like read websites. So you'd have to say meta
I think you talked about
keywords
like the kind of like the
equals
YouTube thing.
SEO. Yeah, it's basically like a YouTube tag. So how would we check if the website's using meta keywords and whether or not that's good or bad right now?
Screaming Frog,
Screaming Frog.
and then shoot. I'm not sure.
So you just scroll over, meta keyword, nothing in there. So none of the pages have meta keywords. So you could do the same thing with Sitebulb if you just wanted to search it, keyword, meta keyword, and it's obviously not in there. So you're good. And again, if they were in there, you just want to take them out. Okay. These next ones, I'm going to cover Google My Business. Actually, no, we have to take a break, I think, because these next ones, page speed, schema markup, these are all things that are going to be really hard to teach you. But we're almost done with the foundation, which is nice.
How close are we? Oh, we're actually pretty close. Dang.
Yeah.
We're so close.
Yes, sir. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Once we're done with this, again, we're going to be moving into the implementations for all this stuff. So I hope you guys are ready. And until I see y'all next time, happy SEOing.